CBS News has been digging into the investigation of President Biden's son, Hunter. Among the things we are learning is that those investigating this case have also sought bank records for another person, the president's brother, Jim. CBS News investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge is here with more details. Catherine, what is the status of the U.S. Attorney's investigation in Delaware?
Major, this began as a tax inquiry for Hunter Biden, and we've been able to confirm that sometime around 2018, it became a federal investigation led by the U.S. Attorney in Delaware. And multiple sources tell CBS News that it's broader than previously reported, that involves possible violations of tax law, money laundering, and foreign lobbying regulations. What we know about real-time information is that two business associates of Hunter Biden who worked with him during a period when his father, Joe Biden, was vice president, have gone to the grand jury in Delaware last year. And more recently, a woman who settled a paternity suit with Hunter Biden was at the grand jury testifying in February of this year, Major.
So, Catherine, those familiar with your work, and I certainly count myself among them, know that you not only rely on sources but documents. And you have verified some law enforcement documents related to this conversation. What do they show?
Well, Major, these documents come from 2019, and our CBS News investigative team has verified the documents, and they show that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware in 2019 subpoenaed banking records from a major U.S. bank, in this case, J.P. Morgan, and they wanted all the transactions related to Hunter Biden, James Biden, the president's brother, as well as two of their business associates, along with more than a dozen entities, companies, including the Bank of China, domestic companies, as well as institutions operating in Eastern Europe. To be clear, what we don't know beyond these records is the investigative interest that the U.S. Attorney has in the president's brother, James Biden, Major.
So, Catherine, another question that I think might be on the minds of viewers is, what is implied here? What is the wrongdoing? What is something that might have crossed over U.S. laws? Is it enrichment? Is it trading on a family name? Is it something that is fraudulent in representation? If you could summarize briefly what the essence of this is, what would that be?
Well, I think there are really two buckets of ideas here, Major. One is sort of a legal question. Were there violations of tax law? Was there money laundering? Were there violations of something called FARA, which is the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which requires American citizens to tell the Justice Department that they're acting on behalf of the interests of a foreign country or a foreign institution? The other bucket right here is what I would call the sort of perception or political bucket of ideas. Did this representation, did the money that was taken in by Hunter and James Biden present a potential conflict, not only for themselves, but for the current president of the United States? The White House has been very clear on that point, that they say President Biden was not involved in their businesses, that what Hunter and James Biden did was a private matter, and that he had no visibility into it. But to be clear, they're kind of these two different buckets. One is that legal question, and then the other is that perception or political question.
Catherine, thank you for those two buckets. Really helpful for the audience.
Okay.
This week you spoke with Republican Senator ChuckGrassley of Iowa about records he's making public. What is he alleging or trying to unveil, and what's the response from the White House, if any?
Well, Republican ChuckGrassley, who was on the Senate floor the last couple of weeks, has been making public records that their investigators got directly from U.S. banking institutions. And the reason I emphasize that is because what we've seen of records before is that they've either come from this laptop that it's alleged Hunter Biden left at a repair store in Delaware, or it's come from their former business partners. You can think about Tony Bobulinski. He came forward right around the time of the election. So the argument the senator makes is that these are clean records. These are records that are kind of pure, if you will. They come directly from the bank, and they go to these transactions. He was clear in our interview, too. He said, I'm not saying laws were broken, but I am saying that these transactions on their face are very concerning to me because of the entities they were doing business with, the amount of money that's changing hands, and whether it presented more than the perception of a conflict, that there were significant national security questions involved.
CBS investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge, thank you.
You're welcome.